Alright, hey guys, this is Vesper. In this video I'm going to explain to you guys Ryu's most important Guardbreak setups in his V-Trigger using both his Charged Fireball and the Denjin version of his Super. And if you're not a Ryu player yourself, you can use this video to help you counter these very common setups. Okay, so let's start off with the Charged Fireball setups. Go into your training mode options and turn counter to on and change your guard to after first attack. So the reason we turn counter to on is because both setups require a crush counter low hard kick, because it causes a hard knockdown, which means the opponent's always going to wake up at the exact same speed. And that's the only way to set this up properly, because, you know, if you don't get a crush counter, for example, the opponent's always going to wake up at different speeds. Sometimes he's not going to do a quick rise, sometimes he will, and then sometimes he will do a back rise, and it's going to be completely random, and it's impossible for us to time the guard break properly. So what you want to do is start with a crouching hard kick, cancel it into V-Trigger, and if you notice it's a crush counter, then you can start one of two setups. And if it's not a crush counter, it's fine because you still get a knockdown. You can still go for it if you want, but if you notice that he does a quick rise, you have to stop charging or you're going to get blown up for it. And on top of that, you don't have to worry if he blocks your crouching hard kick, because since you're canceling to V-Trigger, it's safe anyways. So once again, make sure the guard is set to after first attack, because when we get our crush counter into V-Trigger, Cammy will block the next attack coming at her, which will be the Charged Fireball. So let's set this up. So the first setup is with the normal Charged Fireball. We're going to do crouching hard kick, cancel it into V-Trigger, then we're going to whiff a standing medium punch. And the reason we're doing this is to help us with the timing, to keep the timing consistent. So you do a standing medium punch right after the sweep, and then immediately charge the fireball fully. It doesn't matter what strength of the fireball you charge. So let me show you what it'll look like. And you'll know your timing is perfect if the fireball is right inside your opponent's body as they're waking up. So when they stand up, the fireball is already over top of their body and it's not actually coming to them, because we're going to leave no space at all when they're getting up, and they're forced to either block, not block, or they can attempt to jump. So once again guys, it's crouching hard kick, cancel it into V-Trigger, then you immediately do a whiff standing medium punch, just throw it out, and then as soon as the medium punch is done, you immediately charge into fireball, and that should be the correct timing. And then you get a free guard break combo afterwards. Now if they choose to jump or something, try to jump out of it, they will simply get hit for the full damage. And then they're going to end up taking 300 stun and 128 damage. So they're still going to take quite a bit of damage even if they decide to purposely get hit or try to jump out of it. Now for max damage, the combo you want to do is forward dash immediately into a forward hard punch, crouching hard punch into uppercut. The problem with this combo is that you got to make sure you're perfect timing on this one, because you have to immediately dash and immediately cancel it into your forward hard punch, otherwise they're going to recover. Because the normal Charged Fireball, the duration that they're guard broken for is not as long as the EX version. So 163 damage and 268 stun after the guard break is pretty good. Now there is a lot of scaling after a guard break. It starts at 60% afterwards, so it might be best to go right into Super just to help with the scaling a little bit. Since the scaling on the Super caps out at 50%. Now if you guys are having troubles doing that combo, since the timing is pretty tight on it, you can just do a dash in standing hard kick or a dash in back hard kick and just do your regular bread and butters from there, because the damage isn't that much different. So use whatever is comfortable for you guys. Now if you guys want to counter this setup, if you're not a Ryu player, all you need is an invincible reversal. Now keep in mind, guys, that an armored reversal will not work. So this is including Armika's EX Peach and Laura's EX Tackle. Since Ryu's Charge Fireball does 3 hits, it'll blow right through the armor and you'll still get hit either way. So you need something invincible. So for example, Cammy's Uppercut or Cannon Spike. The hard kick version is really good because it's actually very horizontal. So even if I hit you with like a max range crouching hard kick, I'm still in range to get hit by the uppercut. So let me show you guys what happens. So let me do a max range crouching hard kick here. And I'm still in range, as you guys can see. Another thing you guys can use too is any kind of super. Like most supers have invincibility frames as well, because Ryu is still quite close. So don't let Ryu players get away with that if you guys have those kind of tools. Like if the guy doesn't have, for example, super or an invincible reversal, he's probably in trouble and he's probably going to get guard broken no matter what. Okay, so let me show you guys the second setup, which is a lot better. This time we're going to do crouching hard kick, cancel to V trigger once again. And then what we're going to do is immediately backdash and then take a slight step back. So what you can do is you can go backdash and hold back. And then as soon as you see Ryu nudge backwards, that's when you know that's the timing. So you go backdash, nudge back once, and then EX, full charge EX Fireball. So once again, guys, make sure the fireball is right over your opponent's body as they're getting up, and that's when you know your timing is perfect. It has to hit meaty. So using that setup is much better for 2 important reasons. The first one is that you're a lot further from your opponent, so it's a lot harder for you to stop you from doing this. And the second reason is that a fully charged EX Fireball guard breaks them for longer, allowing you to easily dash it and do a forward hard punch with, it doesn't have to be perfect timing, not at all. You have a lot of time. The only downside, of course, is that it costs 1 bar of EX, but at least you'll do a lot more damage if they try to jump out of it, or if they choose not to block it whatsoever. So as you can see, even though you backdash, you still have enough room to squeeze in that forward hard punch, and it's a lot easier to link because they're guard crushed for a lot longer from the EX version of the Charge Fireball. Now if you guys want to counter this setup, it's going to be pretty tough. You're pretty much going to need a super to reach that kind of distance. Even Cammy's reversal is not far enough. So let me show you what happens if Cammy tries to uppercut it. So as you can see, you do a ton more damage. A lot more if they decide just to not block in the first place. So it's a really good setup. So like I said, guys, you want to use a super to counter this. So Cammy's works just fine. And then no matter what, I'm stuck in the animation. But he needs super to counter it. Alright guys, so now I'm going to show you guys 2 guard break setups using his Denjin super when he has his V trigger activated. So go into your training options and turn the guard to guard all. Now the first setup involves the opponent being in the corner. We want to hit him with our Denjin super and do as much white damage as possible through a block string. So we want to do jumping hard punch, crouching hard punch, canceled into V trigger, into another crouching hard punch, into uppercut, into super. So like I said, we're doing the biggest white damage block string we can and keeping him in block stun and forcing him to block the super. So let me show you guys that in real time. And then we do a ton of chip damage, and there's a ton of white health to take away when the opponent is guard broken. And then our guard break combo is crouching hard punch into uppercut, which does the most damage when they're in the corner. Now that is a ton of guaranteed damage if your opponent does not counter it. Another way you can do this setup, if you already have your V trigger activated, is just simply dash forward and go in uppercut super. Because if they get hit by the uppercut, then they take the full damage from the super, and it's going to be even more. And if they happen to block it, then you get your guard break set up anyways. So if you want to counter this, you guys need to use your V reversal. And then that will get you out of this. The problem with V reversals are though is that you cannot use them when you have some type of V trigger activation where there's a timer. So Cammy can't use her V reversal anymore during this. So as a Ryu player, if somebody activates their V trigger and it's a passive, they're pretty much making it very possible for you to do this guard break setup on them, and there's nothing they can do about it. Also, on top of that, if they use their V trigger up, like Nash for example, and he has no V gauge to do a V reversal with, then he's screwed either way if you can land this setup on him. Another thing you guys should know is you cannot use your V reversal on the super itself. It has to be done before the super. So any type of hit in between. If Ryu just does a raw super on you, you can only actually do a V reversal on the last hit, but that's the hit that guard breaks you. So you can't do it either way. Alright, so let me show you guys the last guard break setup. This is using Ryu's super again. You need V trigger already activated, and this could be done mid-screen. So you simply do Ryu's super at point blank range, and you can land a crouching hard kick after, which is actually really good guaranteed damage. And since you're doing a raw super, he can't V reversal out of it. The only problem is you can't cancel any ground normal or special into this, even fireball or uppercut in the super, because it'll push the opponent too far away to land the crouching hard kick. They'll be out of range, and this is including Zangief and Birdie. You can still do this doing a cross-up attack or a jump-in attack. After your V trigger is already activated, you can do a cross-up medium kick or a light kick into super, and it won't push the opponent far away, and you'll still be able to land the crouching hard kick afterwards. You can do a jump-in light kick, and that will also keep them in range for the crouching hard kick. It's something to know, but the thing is, if you do a cross-up attack into super, you're giving them the ability to do a V reversal, so it's not ideal, but it is another setup. Alright guys, so that's it. That's Ryu's most basic and important guard break setups that you should know and how to counter it. To counter the fireball setups, make sure you use an invincible reversal or a long range super. And as for the super guard break setups, you need to use V reversal. And as a Ryu player, you have to keep your eyes on their V gauge so you know when this opportunity arises that you can do these setups on your opponent. So if you guys know any other setups or even better setups, I'd like to know. Leave it in the comments below. Thanks for watching guys. Peace out.